YouTube. This is going to be the first video I'm making on this channel. Hopefully there will be a lot more to come, animation, sketches, stuff like that. So, obviously it's pretty well known that there are multiple contradictions in the Bible. I have read over 400, although I have only just read up to Joshua, so of course I cannot say that for myself, and it's unfair for me to make too many claims until I finish the thing. But in the meantime, I want to point out the greatest contradiction that I have noticed, and possibly the greatest one in the Bible entirely, seeing as to how this is just one of multiple times it is contradicted. I suppose it's best just to read this off. Right now I'm reading from Deuteronomy, the specific pieces being curses for disobedience, sickness and defeat, despoilment, exile, fruitless labors, invasion and siege, plagues, and finally exile. And that is chapter 28, verses 15 to 68. I'm excluding 69 since it's basically just to wrap it up. Okay. But if you do not hearken to the voice of the Lord your God... Oh, and I'm sorry for any errors in pronunciation before we start. But if you do not hearken to the voice of the Lord your God, and are not careful to observe all his commandments in which I enjoin you today, all these curses shall come upon you and overwhelm you. May you be cursed in the city and cursed in the country. Cursed be your grain bin and your kneading bowl. Cursed be the fruit of your womb, the produce of your soil, and the offspring of your livestock, the issue of your herds, and the young of your flocks. May you be cursed in your coming in, and cursed in your going out. The Lord will put a curse on you, defeat and frustration in every enterprise you undertake, until you are speedily destroyed and perish for the evil you have done in forsaking me. The Lord will bring a pestilence upon you that will persist until he has exterminated you from the land you are entering to occupy. The Lord will strike you with wasting and fever, with scorching, fiery drought, with blight and searing wind that will plague you until you perish. The sky over your heads will be like bronze, and earth under your feet like iron. For rain the Lord will give your land powdery dust, which will come down upon you from the sky until you are destroyed. The Lord will let you be beaten down before your enemies. Though you advance against them from one direction, you will flee before them in seven, so that you will become a terrifying example to all kingdoms of the earth. Your carcasses will become food for all the birds of the air and for the beasts of the field, with no one to frighten them off. The Lord will strike you with Egyptian boils and with tumors, eczema, and the itch, until you cannot be cured. And the Lord will strike you with madness, blindness, and panic, so that even at midday you will grope like a blind man in the dark, unable to find your way. You will be oppressed and robbed continually, with no one to come to your aid. Though you betroth a wife, another man will have her. Though you build a house, you will not live in it. Though you plant a vineyard, you will not enjoy its fruits. Your ox will be slaughtered before your eyes, and you will not eat of its flesh. Your ass will be stolen in your presence, but you will not recover it. Your flocks will be given to your enemies, with no one to come to your aid. Your sons and daughters will be given to a foreign nation, while you look on and grieve for them in a constant helplessness. A people whom you do not know will consume the fruit of your soil and of all your labor, and you will be oppressed and crushed at all times without surcease, until you are driven mad by what your eyes must look upon. The Lord will strike you with malignant boils, of which you cannot be cured, on your knees and legs, and from the soles of your feet to the crown of your head. The Lord will bring you and your king, whom you have set over you, to a nation which you and your fathers have not known, and there you will serve strange gods of wood and stone, and will call forth amazement, reproach, and barbed scorn from all the nations to which the Lord will lead you. Though you spend much seed on your field, you will harvest but little, for the locusts will devour the crop. Though you plant and cultivate vineyards, you will not drink or store up the wine, for the grubs will eat the vines clean. Though you have olive trees throughout your country, you will have no oil for ointment, for your olives will drop off unripe. Though you beget sons and daughters, they will not remain with you, but will go into captivity. Buzzing insects will infest all your trees and the crops of your soil. The aliens residing among you will rise higher and higher above you, while you sink lower and lower. He will lend to you, not you to him. He will become the head, you the tail. All these curses will come upon you, pursuing you and overwhelming you, until you are destroyed, because you would not hearken to the voice of the Lord your God, nor keep the commandments and statutes he gave you. They will light on you and your descendants as a sign and a wonder for all time. Since you would not serve the Lord your God with joy and gratitude for abundance of every kind, therefore in hunger and thirst, in nakedness and utter poverty, you will serve the enemies whom the Lord will send against you. He will put an iron yoke on your neck until he destroys you. The Lord will rise up against you a nation from afar, from the end of the earth, that swoops down like an eagle, a nation whose tongue you do not understand, a nation of stern visage that shows neither respect for the aged nor pity for the young. They will consume the offspring of your livestock and the produce of your soil until you are destroyed. They will leave you no grain or wine or oil, no issue of your herds or young of your flocks, until they have brought about your ruin. They will besiege you in each of your communities until the great, unscalable walls you trust in come tumbling down all over your land. They will so besiege you in every community throughout the land which the Lord your God has given you, that in the distress of the siege to which your enemy subjects you, you will eat the fruit of your womb, the flesh of your own sons and daughters whom the Lord your God has given you. The most refined and fastidious man among you will begrudge his mother and his beloved wife and his surviving children, any share in the flesh of his children that he himself is using for food, when nothing else is left him in the straits of the siege to which your enemy will subject you in all your communities. The most refined and delicate woman among you, so delicate and refined that she would not venture to set the sole of her foot on the ground, will begrudge her beloved husband and her son and daughter, the afterbirth that issues from her womb, and the infant she brings forth when she secretly uses them for food for want of anything else, in the straits of the siege to which your enemy will subject you in your communities. If you are not careful to observe every word of the law which is written in this book, and to revere the glorious and awesome name of the Lord your God, he will smite you and your descendants with severe and constant blows, malignant lasting maladies. He will again afflict you with all the diseases of Egypt which you dread, and they will persist among you. Should there be any kind of sickness or calamity not mentioned in this book of the law, that too the Lord will bring upon you until you are destroyed. Of you, who are numerous as the stars in the sky, only a few will be left, because you would not hearken to the voice of the Lord your God. Just as the Lord once took delight in making you grow and prosper, so will he now take delight in ruining and destroying you, and you will be plucked out of the land you are now entering to occupy. The Lord will scatter you among all the nations from one end of the earth to the other, and there you will serve strange gods of wood and stone, such as you and your fathers have not known. Among these nations you will find no repose, not a foot of ground to stand upon, for there the Lord will give you an anguished heart and wasted eyes and a dismayed spirit. You will live in constant suspense and stand in dread both day and night, never sure of your existence. In the morning you will say, "Would that it were evening," and in the evening you will say, "Would that it were morning," for the dread that your heart must feel and the sight that your eyes must see. The Lord will send you back in galleys to Egypt, to the region I told you you were never to see again, and there you will offer yourselves for sale to your enemies as male and female slaves, but there will be no buyer. Now, of course, despite many other contradictions, I figured this was the best one, since it's basically just an entire rant based on telling the Israelites what will happen if they're disobedient. But what the passage that this mainly contradicts is 1 John chapter 4 verse 8, "The one who does not love does not know God, for God is love." That's not what we just saw. And some people argue, well, that's what God used to be like. That's not really very comforting, but even if you say that, there's still Malachi chapter 3 verse 6, "I the Lord do not change." To be more specific, the version that I'm currently reading, the translation that I'm reading, is the New American Standard Bible. And please, if I am mistaken on any of my information, I'm pretty much just reading off quotes here, but if I'm mistaken in later things about interpretations or meanings, I'll probably have a counter argument, but I do want to be getting my facts straight, so please correct me if I get something wrong. So that is the end of this video, and thank you for tolerating my voice.